Welcome to my studio. This is a place of no expectations and no judgment. Today, I'm excited to announce that I have a new microphone. Sound is so important when we're trying to keep a calm environment, and I hope that this microphone makes these videos a little more pleasant and ambient as you maybe paint along with me or put me on in the background. You might be cleaning the house or doing the laundry. Whatever you want to use these videos for, that's what they're here for. So today I'm really focused on trust. Why? Because I really trusted my camera when I started painting, but I also only had about 10 minutes. So you can see I'm not using a palette. I'm just putting paint directly on this face of this person who is full of curiosity peeking out from behind the tree and looking at the queen of experimentation, as we call her. And it takes a lot of trust to just slap the paint onto the canvas. But what will end up happening is that my memory card will get full. And I blatantly trusted that my camera would be there to witness the entirety of the 15 or so minutes I painted. For now, we will just start adding paint the way we normally do, with spontaneity, without expectation on ourselves to do an immaculate job. And I'm feeling better in this video than I did in the last one. The last one I was a little bit sick. So I felt I could trust myself to begin putting in some faces on the characters here and start to understand their backstory. A lot of art making is being able to trust yourself. And I think most of us, at least once in our life, have experienced what it's like to not trust ourselves, to not believe we can do something, and to have fear over our own capability. This painting is so important because it really is an expression of my own spontaneity and movement as I dance with this orange paint. I really love this orange color. We're just gonna put a big blob on there and see if I can make the shapes of a nose and a face, some eye sockets, begin to understand the expression of this person who seems to be almost intimidated by the powerful, energetic queen in the center. And I'm really just going for it. So if you're making art right now, maybe you're painting, collaging, making a sculpture, just trust yourself. It's gonna be all right. Looking at myself pushing this glob of paint around underneath the nose makes me a little stuffy. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. And not to be totally narcissistic, but I love the way that I paint sometimes when I have my basket next to me and I just open up the color I need, place it on the canvas or the brush, and then throw it right back into the basket. If this is your first time here and you're finding issue with the way I approach my painting, I hope it inspires you to seek techniques and artists that calm you a little bit more than my very spontaneous and expressive approach. I think art is inherently messy. And a lot of the times it's like cleaning out your closet. You kind of make a mess before you can put it all back together again. A little suspicious of something behind me there. I don't know what I heard or what I maybe saw in a shadow, but what a face that just was. I think if we're talking about themes of trust, you also got to trust that you're going to wake up each day and love yourself in all forms. And maybe that wasn't the best face I have ever made in my life, but it was a face nonetheless, one that I made, and I'm gonna have to love myself for it. I've always been very interested in ears. Clearly, I've got however many piercings. And painting these ears was quite enjoyable because I could manipulate the paint and use the little blobs to create the folds of the ears. And right here, a little chip of paint has come off my paintbrush. I'm gonna have to pick that off the canvas. It's no big deal. You just gotta breathe. You just gotta trust. And so now I'm using the back of the brush to continue to manipulate the little blobs into a nose shape. I'm using a smaller brush today because I'm looking at these facial features and there's a lot more finer details that are involved in the creases and structures of our faces. Interestingly, we really are just made up of a bunch of shapes, aren't we? Triangles, circles, and squares. Some cylinders. It's kind of what I'm thinking about here. I'm starting to add in brown to understand the placement of shadow and light. And more globs and globs of paint. We heard something again, looking behind me. It seems like I maybe don't trust my surroundings right now. That something's up. Maybe it's a little foreshadowing that I know in a couple of minutes this video feed it's gonna cut out. Memory card will be full. I think it's really important to, and we are cut off. Check. Trying to do it one more time. And we are cut off. So what happened? I came back about 3 hours later after having an art therapy session. And we're just going to start again. We're just going to start again. But what you'll notice is that my trust has been ruptured with my camera. I'm going to put together my palette. I'm going to do my very best to continue this real-time progress of this painting. But I will consistently be checking on my camera because I no longer trust it. I don't trust that it will capture everything. So we're going to continue with our curious person behind the tree. Who knows what they're going to turn out like, but if we're thinking layers and progress, we're also going to add a new layer for our queen here. We're just going to trust that I am capable of adding in these faces. We're going to give it a stretch. And, you know, faces are interesting. I'm going to check the camera. Faces are interesting because they're really difficult to capture the true expression. Humans are so expressive in their micro responses to experiences. The smell of a flower may create a very subtle smile. So it's hard to transfer that onto a painting. And I think I have reached a place with this channel, with this painting, and in my life where things are recently looking a little less dark than they have been in the past few videos. I got my microphone, you know, that I can go ahead and add the foundations of these faces. I trust myself. And maybe I don't fully believe that, but I am embodying it. This idea that I have capacity, that I have the academic skill level to add in these faces. And to be honest, you don't even need academic skill level, because whatever expression you put onto a piece of artwork is so pure and authentic to you that it's valid. It doesn't matter if it looks like one of Picasso's faces with the eye all the way on the top of the forehead and your ear on your neck. It is beautiful because it came from you. You are a human, and let me tell you, no AI generator can replace your authentic expression. You can try, but I don't think, even as a person who loves technology, loves video editing, graphics, and the advancement of tech, I don't think that AI could make this painting. It couldn't create the folds of the oil paint. It couldn't manipulate the blobs in a way that comes from a human hand. And the same extends to you and your skill level in whatever you do. Even the way you do the dishes or clean the house, if that's what you're using these videos for, is authentic to you. And we should celebrate that. We should trust ourselves every day that we are capable. These faces to me represent much more than whatever they end up being. The ability to put these faces on a canvas represents my ability to persevere self-doubt and embody the hope I have to trust myself. And I hope that same energy extends to you in whatever you do. You keep going and you keep trusting. And so if you notice right now, I'm actually, because I took a break on this painting, able to add in some eyelids to the white foundations of the eyes I've already put in. And I'm also bringing in some blue. Fun fact about color theory, if you didn't know, like I didn't, about a year and a half ago, I learned that if you add in the opposite color from the color wheel to the color you're working on, so I'm working with an orange body, I'm using blue as a complement to that, kind of a bluey purple, to add in shadows to the face, and it creates a much more dynamic and slightly more realistic appearance to, as you can see what I'm doing, the cheekbones, underneath the lips, to show that the lips do protrude outwards from the face. We're going to check the camera, make sure we're still rolling. Our trust has been ruptured with the camera, and just like my microphone, it'll be an exciting day when I get a new camera too. But for now, we work with what we have, and what I have is a really nice camera with a super zoomed in lens, and I don't mind it at all. I like how you really get a focus on the painting, my hands, and just the way my body is sitting as I'm painting. And so what I'm doing now is thinking about story. Because we have this nude person creeping out behind a tree, observing voyeuristically the queen of experimentation. It looks a little funky, does it not? Why is this person naked and hugging a tree? I don't know. That's how it came out. However, I'm going to add some clothing, a beautiful gown to match the gown of the queen here. But this one's a little more subdued. It doesn't have as much volume. It does have this nice little suggestive leg slit that shows some personality to this individual behind the tree, whom I have yet to name. But it also adds story to this person. And to me, now the painting is starting to come together like parts of self. This person behind the tree is likely a very insecure part of myself. The part that sees my confident side radiating, glowing, shining with these big, expansive wings. And the insecure self is a little bit more flat, more vulnerable, less willing to be front and center. A little bit more curious about what confidence might feel like, about what the ability to fully embody your own power feels like. I feel this orange person is most definitely an insecure part of myself. And we all have parts of selves. We have the part of ourself that is a manager. We have the part of ourself that is a protector. And we have the part of ourselves that is our pure, effervescent aura. And all of those parts make you up to be one whole human. We're going to check the camera because the insecure part of myself no longer trusts the camera. But I'm also starting to think about different parts of my life and how I express myself in different ways, in different settings. And I almost want to add a third character in a future video that's almost gremlin-like and over by the fire. It's the part of yourself that actually kind of wants to sit in the fire, wants to sit in the flames, the part of yourself when you wake up in the morning and you just don't look your best. You're eating whatever you can from the fridge, just to get by, but it is a part of yourself that keeps going. And so I am adding some blue eyes to our insecure self, because I think that there's a real glimmer that comes across in blue eyes. And to me, that's a glimmer of light and reflection, but also a bit of sadness. When I think of my eyes filling up with tears, I feel like my tears are ice blue. And if we want to get really deep into the narrative of this painting, perhaps these blue eyes and blue dress are actually reflecting from the Queen of Experimentation and representing that these two characters are actually two parts of the same self. If you are still with me and painting along or making artwork yourself, I hope it's going well. Just keep going. This is the part of painting where you start getting really into it, right? You feel more comfortable, you feel the trust in your veins. And then you start thinking about it more critically because you feel safe with yourself to think about things more critically. And so I see that the hand on this character is huge. It's really big. So I'm actually using some of the colors around the hand, the brown from the tree, the blue from the dress, to minimize the size of the hand and define with harsher edges the fingertips of this person. You can see I'm just coming in with the brown and adding in separation between each finger and defining the fingertips and little valleyways that are created between each individual finger. I will say, I think in the future I will be putting some fabulous nails on this hand. They're looking a little stumpy to me, like there is more of a reaching out that should be happening, and that the extension of the fingertips can reach more towards the Queen of Experimentation. So I've done a lot on the orange human, and I feel ready to take on the Queen's foundational features. They're not going to be finished. They're not going to be what they end up looking like in the end, but I want to get down those initial bone structures, those initial, I guess, features. Yeah, it's really just features. I don't need to change the words that I'm using. I feel confident enough to put in a nose in the middle of the face and start defining her brow bone and cheekbones. And it's going to be a lot of layers. So this is just one of a few more to come. But I will tell you, very nervous, very, very nervous. And we just have to go for it. We've touched the canvas. It has begun, starting with a brow bone. Coming in, trying to define where her nose will fall. Taking a breath, and we're actually just going to check the camera. Make sure we're recording. This is a big moment. And what I enjoyed a lot about the orange character was that I ended up just globbing some paint onto the canvas, and it worked really well for me to define the depth of the nose. So I think I'm just gonna go for it again. Glob some paint on. I trust it's gonna work out. Trust, trust, trust. And if it doesn't, I trust I can fix it once it's probably dry. It seems that, maybe I'm not too comfortable with the nose just yet, but I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna define some of the edges of the face. Think about where the hairline is falling, and then I can touch the nose because I have a better idea of the proportion of the face. And I am just pushing and pulling the paint. It does get little peaks that I would hope would be smoother, so I'm going to work with that as well. But at this point, I am starting to sweat. This is the furthest I have really come with this painting, in my opinion, because the face is the focus. It is in the center of the canvas, and it's a big deal. So it really speaks to how willing I am to trust myself today, but I also think it speaks to community. Oh, not my super important degree on the wall being crooked, but it speaks to community because before I did this, I went to an art therapy session. I facilitated the session. It was great. I came back feeling energized and ready to do this face. I was inspired by another person's expression. I was inspired by the ability to make art with others, and then went on to trust myself to do this. So you can see the beginning of a nose, you can see the beginning of an eye socket, and no, it's not going to be done today. You also have to trust your capability to stop and pause when you have had enough. I hope that me sitting here and showing you my raw process, like I don't have makeup on. This isn't the most fabulous I've ever looked. This is how people make art. They make art when they feel so inclined to. So I hope me sharing my raw process with you does the same that other people making art in front of me does for me. I hope it inspires you. I hope it inspires you to be more fluid, to be more trusting of yourself. Your authentic expression is all this world needs. It's all you need. We make art for ourselves first and for other people second. I'm seeing the shadows of the face. I'm gonna look at it. We're gonna check the camera and come back to it. At this point, I am sweating. That was emotionally a lot for me to do. So I'm just going to add some final kind of defining foundations to the shapes of the face, the borders around the face. I'm making a little bit of a purpley gray to start to understand where some highlights might come in. Because this is a bluer color, I feel like a kind of light bluish purple will do real nicely as a highlight, or at least a medium tone in this face. And so I chose the ear first because I wanted to see what the color looked like. Somewhere that might be less stressful to start is always a great place to begin because it's not the center of the face. Going in and defining the brow bone a little bit more. I know it looks like a blue blob, but if you use some imagination, you can see the beginnings of a nose, eye socket, and mouth. Artwork, most often, not every time, is about compounding experiences of sitting with your art and amalgamating materials on top of one another. You build upon the previous sessions you've had with your art until you have something you feel satisfied with. I'm going to add a little bit of a cheekbone on each side. And I have to stop. It's done. We need to stop. I've gone very far for myself. That was strenuous on my brain. That was strenuous on my body, which is still feeling a little stiff from being sick. But let's look at the painting. Where is it right now? You can see those beautiful stars from the last session and the beginning of the face. I'm very proud of it. And then this curious, mystical, insecure creature peeking out from behind the tree. I am not done with that one just yet either. Bye.